Hello there, Peter Beckenham, the Village Marketer, and I just want to reach out publicly to say thank you to some of the awesome members of our Your Next Level community, and also to apologise publicly to them as well. In our most recent mastermind, and where we had a topic, what's been your biggest business mistakes? There was all sorts of technical challenges I had. My computer actually started jamming up. And as a result, to be quite frank with you, I lost the plot a bit when it came to things. And there are elements of our session that I didn't record simply because I was trying to keep things going. So this is my apology to these members, okay? And I want to say who they are because it's truly important that they are recognised because they did an incredible job. And please continue to watch this video to share what their thoughts were and their experiences were when it came to the biggest business mistakes they've had in their life, because I think you'll find it enlightening. And these are the people concerned. And by the way, when I give you their names, underneath this video, if you're watching it on YouTube, their links are there, and I strongly encourage you to click their links. I really do, because they're there, ready, willing, and able to be of help to you. And the links are there, not as a sales page, but as a service to you. That's what they are, a service to you. And they're darn good at what they do. These are the people I want to say thank you publicly to, and a little apology as well, right? John D. Allen, Penny Kennedy, Sherry Bennett, who was also the prize presenter for the evening, and the actual draw, spinning the wheel, wasn't recorded either. So my sincere apologies to you, Sherry, and also to John, who actually won the darn prize. Jeff Veale, Yvonne A. Jones, Fred Gillen, Pat Dreyer, Markus Neukom, Yogesh Kapoor, Afshin Noohi, Carol Davies, Sandy Murray, Rick Saab, and Pat Kern. To all of you, thank you. Thank you so much for the awesome contribution you made to the session, and also my apologies for the technical challenges that I had in doing it. Okay, so without any further ado, please watch now what they shared about the topic of the biggest business mistakes they experienced, because I think you will find some of the things they share with you, you can definitely resonate with. And when you hear what they share and how they overcame it, that you could find it very helpful. Sandy, over to you.
Yeah, it's Sandy Murray here. And the question of today is, you know, as far as failures, and I indicated before, just chatting a little bit, is that I'm very good at that. In fact, I'm probably one of the best failures that you can imagine. However, by failing, you do learn a lot of things, and you really progress because of failures. But the two that I like to think about with regard to where I missed out were, number one, being consistent. I have a tendency to go down rabbit holes. I have a tendency to want to go off and learn something new. So I think being consistent to me is something I got to really work on. And the second one is finding a mentor, which to me is, you know, if you do that at the early stages of whatever you're working on, then it's going to be of real value to you. And in my case, everybody online here is really a mentor for me, and they've been really helpful in many, many ways. I've chatted pretty well with a lot of people. Of course, the master of my mentor is Peter, which I do get a lot of value from you, Peter. You do a fantastic job, and I know you help a lot of the people that are online here. And I just want to say that I personally appreciate it. So thanks very much, Peter.
Thank you, Sandy. Okay, John, back to you. My apologies for this. Away you go.
No problem. Like Sandy, one of my biggest mistakes is the lack of consistency. I would assume that the majority of us have all suffered with that at one time or another. The other major mistake I made starting out was I would try and talk the ears off anybody that would listen to me, because I felt I had to convince them of how great, grand, and wonderful I was. It took me a long time to learn that the good Lord gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. And sometimes I even still forget that today. But you learn a lot more by listening than you do talking. And if you really want to know about your clients and what have you, you have to listen to them. Find out what their problems and their challenges are. Because to be honest with you folks, they really don't give a damn about me or you. Their main interest is themselves. So learn to listen twice as much as you talk. Thanks, Peter.
Thank you, John. And thank you for your patience with our technology challenges. I appreciate that. Who would like to go next?
I do.
Okay, Ashwin, over to you, my man.
Yeah, the biggest mistakes, which are many, is not implementing things and studying too much. So actually recently I made a point of not reading anything anymore and implement what I already learned. And I go in a methodical way. Every day I spend so many hours to get such a thing done. And actually Sandy Mary helps me a lot with that also. The other thing is that getting caught up into nitty-gritties of technical issues, technical things, rather than looking at the overall picture. Do you want me to go on?
Yes.
Sure.
So, and also not having the right environment. I learned that you need to have the right environment at home, your home office, outside, and the most importantly, the people you hang around with. You know, that's another important also. And also to see yourself as being successful. So, so much is mental, attitudinal, and behavioral work that you need to do. So I guess I fell in all of them in times, but you learn and you climb back up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good point, Ashwin. You just said you learn and you climb back up. That's a key bit, right? That is the
Right.
key bit. Yeah. Okay, who'd like to go next?
Yeah, I'll have a go.
Okay.
I think one of the important lessons I learned, and this is going back quite a number of years, was you want to keep on top of your numbers and your finances, and especially if you've got somebody else involved or a partnership, because I got basically lost a lot of money because I trusted somebody else with the bank account details and access to it, and when I checked things out, it was empty. So just keep on top of your numbers and what you give access to your bank account to.
That's a tough lesson, Fred.
Oh, it was learned pretty quick, but yeah, never happened again. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. By the way, before anyone else, one of the biggest mistakes I made was similar to you, Sandy. I thought my ego got in the way. I thought I could do it all right. I can do this. I don't need anyone to help me. That was the biggest mistake ever. I agree with that, right? But the other mistake was not starting an email list as soon as I could. I didn't realize the importance of email marketing because I was introduced to this social media thing. I thought, this is what it's all about. Email sort of at its day, right? That is truly a mistake, right? So if you're not creating an email list and working with your email list, and there's a whole lot of different ways. Maybe we should run a session on that one day. But that's a big mistake I made. All right, who's next? Jerry, okay, over to you.
Thank you, Peter. I've made a lot of mistakes along the way, and I think if I do a root cause analysis, I think I was tuned into the wrong channel. You know, I think I wasn't listening to the right information, and I learned very quickly that we can't go through life alone, and we can't go through business alone either. And I learned when I asked for help, the world opened up to me. And I thank you very much, Peter, for this opportunity. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sherry. And by the way, I'll come back to you a little later on so you can talk a little bit about your gift for the evening, and then we'll spin the wheel to see who wins it, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, Pat, dry. I won't get down there, Pat. Who would like to talk next?
I'll go next.
Okay, Carol, over to you.
Yeah, I'm Carol Davies. And when I saw the topic for today's discussion, it sort of sent cold prickles up and down my spine. I thought, I wish I had seen a talk on this before I had started my business. I worked for many, many years in large corporations. So I was always sort of guided and supported. But several years back, I left full-time employment and then went out on my own. And then I found I didn't know how to sort of structure my time and my life because I was used to having a routine somebody else had set up. And it took me quite a while to figure out how I worked best. And what I identified with some of the other speakers this morning was that feeling of isolation and feeling adrift because I didn't have systems in place. I didn't really have a business support network. And one of the things was I didn't believe in myself that I knew enough. So I kept taking every course coming. The next one that came up, oh, this is going to be good. I'd take that and spend money on it. And then the next course came or the next big opportunity. And I was very scattered. And suddenly one day it occurred to me that I am making a living. I'm doing not too badly. And the answers were within myself. My biggest mistake really was not believing in myself that I had the necessary skills. Maybe, yes, I had to get a guide or a mentor, but once I figured that out, it's like everything solidified and I was able to go forward a lot better. And that was better for my clients because I knew where I was going. And I thought it's a little bit difficult to coach other people if I don't know where I'm going. So I would say that was the biggest thing, was not believing in myself. And of course, I have moments when things pop up, but it's such a comfort to know that I can ask people for help. I can reach out to people in networks that I've been. And my sole aim really is to make a difference in life. And it gives me such joy to be able to do that.
Thank you, Carol. What a great point. Self-belief. That is truly, that is a big, big issue. Thank you. Yvonne, I think I saw your hand up. Would you like to go next?
Yes, thank you, Peter. I made a lot, but I'm just going to focus on 4. And the first one is, one of my biggest mistakes was to stop marketing. We never, ever, once we're in business,
Good morning, Josh.
stop marketing.
Calling.
Yep.
I do hope here between 8:45 and 9:30.
Just a minute.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry.
John.
Okay. Yeah, so one of the biggest mistakes that we can make is to stop marketing. Even if we think our funnel, if we use that term, or whatever it is, if we think it's full or we have enough clients, customers, we still need to keep marketing because that particular source can dry up unexpectedly and in unexpected ways.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is, I was a perfectionist. I refer to myself now as a recovering perfectionist. And so I didn't know this because when I worked in corporate settings, I gave 110%. I got the promotions, the accolades, the recognition, what have you. When I started working for myself, I no longer had someone patting me on the back and say, "Oh, Yvonne, that is wonderful." And so I created products. I did all these things because I started working with mentors early after coming online. But none of them ever asked me, show me where it is online. Show me a link. They would ask me to do this. And I said, oh yeah, I did. But I never released it because I didn't think it was good enough. Then the other thing, for the sake of time, is getting help. We cannot, if we're going to grow, we cannot do it alone. And even if we don't have a large budget, we need someone else to help us. I would try to create my landing pages and I would spend hours on them and they would look like a homemade cracker instead of what came from the nicely packaged thing until I finally got connected with someone in the Philippines who did the most beautiful, those days it was HTML landing pages, but I learned, don't waste your time doing things you can pay somebody else to do. Spend your time on what only you can do and what's of value. So those are my three out of the four.
Thank you, Yvonne. 4 excellent ones. Rico, what about you, my man? Mistakes that you have made.
Yeah, I think one of the mistakes I've made is I believe I should have gotten a mentor when I first started. I think it would have saved me a lot of time, a lot of heartache, and it would have definitely helped me speed up the process of learning and just overall setting up my business a lot further and stronger.
Okay, thanks, Rico. All right. Patrick Kern, what about you, my man? I want to wake up. I thought you were going to sleep.
No, I'm listening to all this. And I just prefer to listen right now because we all made mistakes. And, you know, I don't know where to start with mine, to tell you the truth. There's so many of them. But I'm learning. I'm just personally, I'm hard-headed. Let's get right down to the brass tacks. I'm just hard-headed. That's all I have to say right now.
Okay, Patrick, thank you very much. Who would like to go next?
I can go.
Okay. All right, Penny, over to you.
I'm like you all. I've made many, many mistakes, but I've learned from them. My biggest mistake, I feel, is surrounding myself with positive people. I wasn't doing that. So in my type of business, you listen to everybody's struggles and wants and where they want to go, but their frustrations. So it brings you down really quick. And I also have a passion for it. So it keeps me up at night. How can I help? How can I get them going? So if you don't surround, or I found when I wasn't surrounding myself with positive people, I would just drag myself down more and more and more. And therefore I couldn't help as well as I should have, right? So surrounding myself by positive people and not taking things so personally. I had to learn to let go of that a little bit so that I could actually sleep at night. So that was quite the lesson and I still struggle with it, but yeah, it's moving forward, right? Recognizing it before it gets to that point.
Thank you, Penny. And as always, thank you for your honesty. Excellent, excellent. Who'd like to go next? Pat Dreyer, over to you, my man.
Well, my biggest mistake today was not testing the link and making sure that I could get onto here on time like I normally do. And the biggest part of it was I let it get to me. I didn't take it for what it was and just blow it off and just do what I did. Work until I could get online, and but here we are. But I think that the biggest mistake I made in the beginning was thinking that I could do it myself, just like a bunch of you. And I wanted to do it my way. And I completely overthought the entire process. And I wasted so much time and so much money. And I think hiring a coach was probably the smartest thing I ever did. And so if you want to shorten the process, find somebody who's already done it, whatever it is you want to do. Find somebody who has already done it, ask them for help, and tell them what you want. Follow their instructions word for word, without question. They know what they're doing. And once you get into action, it's much easier to coach and refine the process in your actions. So find yourself a coach. You're going to shorten the process. You're going to spend the money one way or another. So shorten the process by putting a coach in there and find out that your results come a whole lot sooner. So that was my biggest mistake in the beginning of this.
Thank you, Pat. Jeff, Markus, Yogesh, who are you next? Jeffrey, okay, over to you, my man.
Okay. Mistakes. I got a couple of pages here, guys. My first biggest mistake, I've had 5 businesses, and each one of them I stayed too long. I'd lost the passion, and I stayed till the end, and I didn't run them into the ground, but they weren't as effective as what they could be, and I wasn't enjoying it as much. And so luckily, I got bought out most of the time, so that was pretty good, but I invariably stayed too long. Even my catering business, I gave a big speech at my 60th birthday and said, goodbye everybody, I'm gone, I'm going to hand it over to my daughter. And because my daughter wasn't efficient enough, I got dragged back in for another 10 years. And I really do feel that was 10 years of my life wasted, because I lost that business anyway with COVID. That's another story. Next part, number 2. I have a bad habit, well, I'm getting better, of trusting people. I trust everyone I meet until they prove otherwise, right? And I'm not going to change because of other people. Just because I meet snakes doesn't mean I've got to become a snake as well. I trust everyone until they prove otherwise. So I trusted these people. And my catering business, going back to that one, at one stage, this is about around the Yellow Pages time, my net profit was on 24%. And I'm one of those guys, I don't really worry about the figures too much as long as I'm making money. However, towards the end, I was on 10%, big difference. But I had a much, much bigger turnover, so I wasn't too worried. I was still getting what I consider was my share, all right? During that time at the catering business, I was robbed 4 times in 2 years.
Wow.
People came in at a very opportune time when my safe was full, and I'm pretty dumb. It took me a while to wake up. The first time I thought, oh, well, okay, bad luck. And the second time was really interesting. The safe guy came and told me, mate, they won't get this one out ever, you know? So I paid top dollar. I got the best, I paid top dollar. And what the guy did, the next time that the thieves got my safe, they rocked it back and forth, and they got my safe in about 3 minutes flat, because it was dynabolted into a tile, and the tile was virtually hardly even stuck to the floor. So as soon as they rocked it, the tile came up, and off they went with the safe, right? So that was a funny one. And a very quick byproduct of that, next time I hired a handyman who looked like he had no idea what he was doing, and he put these big rods into the ground about 4 foot, and he put all this bloody magical glue in there. And this time when the thieves came, and they came, they knew it was going to be tough. And I didn't know at the time it was an inside job. They came with a big truck and a huge linked up chain, and then they ran the chain to the truck and tried to pull it out. And what they did, it was so well done by this guy that the safe was almost bent in half, but it never came out of the ground, and it broke the axle of the truck, and they had to leave the truck there and run away. So that was a very interesting story. That was just done by a home handyman. Anyway, about the second or third time, I got a security system. I put cameras in. The reason I never had cameras before, because I'm dumb, I trust people. So I used to trust all my staff, and a good mate of mine in the catering game said, oh, my staff are my staff are robbing me blind, blah, blah, blah. And I said with pride, oh, I've got no such issue. My people are fantastic. Little did I know. Anyway, one night a good buddy of mine came over a week after I installed that, video system. What do they call it? Security cameras. And I was just trying to learn how to use it. So we're running through it high speed, watching these security cameras. And then it came up at 11:55 at night, and it was very foggy because it's nighttime cameras. And it was like a fog. We saw this guy, my most trusted employee, at 11:55 at night, coming through the fog, grabbing a box, going into the freezer, and filling it up with probably $400 or $500 worth of meat, then putting the lid on the box and quietly leaving. And trust me, I got the shock of my life. Because these are people that are being invited to weddings, funerals, family functions, etc. Anyway, so we learnt the hard way. And the problem there was too, these guys literally had me by the balls because I hadn't worked in the catering for years, and they were my trusted employees doing everything for me. So you can't exactly replace them the next morning. I can go in there bullet the gate and fire them. But I had to do it a bit more subtly, and and then they're not going to let someone else come in either, because they know all the tricks, and you're not going to let an outsider come in. So I had a hell of a time. Anyway, that's that story. The next one. I'm trying to read my scribbly notes. Sorry, guys. I met this. When I had the matchmaking agency, I had a guy come in one day who was a lawyer, and nice guy. And we got talking. He was telling me very early in the piece, I've just got out of jail. I thought, that's interesting, for fraud. And I need to meet a nice girl. And I was a matchmaker. And we started talking about girls. And here's where it got very interesting. The girl I was dating was this guy's ex-wife. So that was like a million to one, right? Anyway, so we had something in common we were chatting about. And he lovely guy, he said, let me take you out for dinner. So we went out for dinner, and being a con man he was, we went to the very best restaurant in town, and I paid the bill. This guy was a real smooth guy. Anyway, I'm going to teach you this one, guys. So I hope you're not having a coffee while I tell you, because you'll spit it out like I did. This guy said to me, I was eating lobster, and I was just washing it down with a nice glass of Chardonnay, right? My mouth was full, and he said this to me, Jeff, you can always rely on people. And I thought, oh yeah, okay, that's pretty profound. And then he added, be careful, Carol, he added, to do the wrong thing. Think about it, guys, it's very, very profound, right? So if you have that attitude in life somewhat, you'll be half protected, because it's very interesting. Anyway, so, and then my next one is, be right more than you're wrong. All right, so be right and fail fast. Do things, guys. You're gonna make mistakes all the time, but fail fast. And when you fail, just learn from that mistake and move on. People used to ask me many, many, many moons ago, when I was the godfather of marketing. Now I'm the grandfather. Don't ask me anything. But they said, Jeff, what's the secret of your success? And a true story, I said this to them. I like to be right 51% of the time. Then I'm in front. All right. I'll give you an example of that, guys. People still laugh at me today. I buy 10 lots of software at $100 a pop, right? And 9 of them are complete crap. But the 10th one, I make $20,000. So the $1,000 was a very good investment. All right. That's it, guys, from me.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jeffrey. Yogesh, what about you, my man?
Well, I resonate with everyone. I've made the same mistakes. But to add, the biggest one I made is not following my intuition. Your intuition can never be wrong. If you feel something's wrong right there and then, just believe it. Back in '98, when my father's business has collapsed, so all us brothers joined his business just to help him out. But somewhere I had an intuition that, I shouldn't be in the family business, but I didn't listen to it. And then after that, the second time I didn't listen to my intuition was when we got this huge order from a from a client in Dubai, and we had to ship these 8 containers of screwdrivers. I told my father, let me fly down to China and let me inspect all the product. And he said to me, no, it's okay. The profit is too little, not worth it. I didn't listen to my intuition, and all those 8 containers came out garbage. And that was a huge turning point in my life, because everything changed after that. I moved to Dubai, and it was a spiral. Things never were the same like they used to be. I think it kind of broke my confidence as well. And the funny thing is, then in 2009 again, I had a partner, and when I was leaving Dubai, my intuition said, don't trust him 100%. And just like Fred, I lost everything again. And all the time I have never listened. Things just went wrong. And the funniest part of all of the story is, in 2011, I grabbed my partner in China because I found out he was there, and I just forgave him. And right after that, I went to the hotel to meet a client from Middle East who wanted to buy chemicals, and he invited a Chinese guy. And I was telling him how I got screwed in 1998. And he said even he got screwed by some guy by sending him $50,000. And when this Chinese guy walks in, it's the same guy. And I find it so weird that 13 years later, on the same day, I meet the two people who screwed me over. That also in China. What is the chances, right? So I don't know what the message from the universe was, but I guess it's like, just don't trust people, follow your intuition. Yeah, and that's all I want to share today.
Wow, what a story, Yogesh. Gut instinct's pretty powerful when you think about it, right? No doubt about that. Thank you very much.
I think that's valid. Like when you say gut instinct, it's like when you have a feeling about someone and, you know, you say, I'll give them a chance. It always works out. You go back and your gut instinct was 100%. Stick with it. Go with the gut.
Dead right, Fred. Dead right. Thank you. Thank you, Yogesh, for sharing. Marcus, what about you, my man?
I'm just talking about one of my biggest mistakes, and that's selling my soul to the devil. I'm not sure if anyone can relate here. There are temptations in the business world which you believe are too good to pass. Mine was as followed. I was introduced to a business person, and I figured out pretty fast that he's actually driving the whole business towards the wall in a beautiful Ferrari, but he wasn't equipped to drive the Ferrari. So I jumped on as a business consultant. I basically made pennies for what I was doing, so it was almost like a passion project, believing that sooner or later it will pay out. And, you know, I was a sucker for validation and a sucker for good feelings and helping other people. So the time came when I negotiated an amazing contract out of that deal with the parent company. And that's when I sold my soul to the devil. I made so much money that I got to the point where I said, I know I have to get out. This guy is a coke addict. I know if you ever have worked with a coke addict, it's beautiful. You cannot trust a single word, and you can trust that almost everything that person says is a lie. In the end, I saved his marriage, I saved his life, I saved the company. And as a result, in September of last year, he took one word in a contract which I have drafted as a consulting contract, and he basically kicked me out of the contract overnight, and it was legal. Unfortunately, I should have written earliest, but I wrote bye. So it was $30,000 loss overnight. Biggest client I ever had was gone. And you see, it's not so much the money, but it actually brought me to the point that I hired Peter as my coach. And Peter said, Marcus, you have lost self-confidence. And I said, I don't think so. I don't think it's self-confidence. I lost my damn mojo. And if you are a coach and if you know what that means, if you lose your mojo, that's the biggest effing price you can pay for. Because I haven't taken on any new clients since. I haven't gone out. I did a LinkedIn challenge and I prayed to God that no one would reach out to me, that no one would take me on a free offer, because I would have simply denied them on the call. So working with Peter for 3 weeks actually has changed my life completely. I have back my mojo, as you probably can tell from time to time. And I'm awesomely grateful actually for that lesson that life taught me, because honestly, I would not sell my soul to the devil anymore for no price. It's high price. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marcus.
Glad you're here, Marcus.
Anyone else like to add
Marcus.
something? You didn't want to say something? I thought you
No,
were.
I'm just glad you're here, Marcus. I just tell you, that's a great story. And Peter will get you
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you everybody for sharing like that. Sherry, thank you for being the gift presenter for the evening. Would you like to spend a couple minutes sharing what it is, and then we'll go and spin the wheel and see who wins it? How about that?
Hey, thank you. Thank you very much, Peter. So for the past 6 years, I've been studying. I've been delving into the research, the medical science about cannabis. And so I've read tons of books. One of my friends wrote this book here called Healing Cannabis Edibles. So this woman was inspired to write this gorgeous resourceful book here because her son had episodes of seizures, grand mal seizures, I believe. And so she has a background in journalism. Anyway, it's a glorious, well-researched resource. It teaches people how to find their dose. You know, we have to be very careful when we're consuming cannabis edibles to make sure that they don't contain too much of the psychoactive component in THC. And some people need like higher levels of THC, but this is an excellent, excellent resource. It's got lovely, wonderful pictures and recipes and how to find your own dose. So it's a limited edition. I have 2 copies left. I'm going to give one away to the lucky winner today.
Okay.
And I'll send it by express post.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sherry. Thank you very much, everybody. I've had a very technically challenged evening here, as you can see. And I'm going to do the best to edit to make it look reasonably good when it's finished. All right. So once again, thank you for your contributions, and I look forward to seeing you next Friday. Okay.
Thanks, Pete.
Okay.
Take care. Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.